Okay, so we now start recording and transcribing.
We might just want to go over the hit the highlights on calling to order. It was a unanimous vote, so forth.
Okay, so we called the meeting to order. We had a roll call. Amy Golden, Mike Morlang, and Alexa Wilson. We're all here. That's the complete board of TUID. We approved the minutes. We adopted the agenda unanimously, and we approved the minutes from February 7, 23 unanimously, and we went through the procedures of handling electronic participation. And I apologize for forgetting the recording. Mari, you prefer to speak at the end of the meeting? We can do that too.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Did I lose you somehow? Hold on. Oh, shoot.
I can still hear you, just not see you. There you are.
Now we can't hear you, Mari.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So before it was always conducted with the public comment at the end of the meeting, whatever was coming after the meeting. So I'm just a little confused, but I appreciate this time. I am really confused right now. I support this new board. I'm just not aware of where everything is going. Like I haven't had any, I've asked with my last bill to have some updates as to what is transpiring down here, an email of some sort. My bill is not correct this month, so I don't know of an office to go to. I feel that we're, as a citizen, I'm not being informed as to what's taking place down here. Who's writing the tariff? If they're actually, I looked on the website today, and it seems that yes, you're on the board, but it doesn't state office hours, office. There's just a lot I feel like I'm not informed on, so that I can speak to somebody to try and address my billing situation or understand what's happening down here with the tariff, who's writing the tariff, or if there's bill changes, we're not having a hearing. If we're reduced connection fees or something's happening, I feel that I'm not aware with, rights and responsibility pamphlet or how this is all supposed to be going.
Even though we say that this is not a question and answer session, it's probably good to respond to you right now. We are in a transition period. We're all scrambling a little bit. The rest of the meeting should make clear what we intend to do, but April 1st, we hope to have a management company in place, and I guess we should send out some notice to all customers, and there will be a place where you can address your questions. Mike, are you okay talking to Mari about her billing issues in the meantime?
Sure, yeah.
Maybe not right now, maybe offline.
No, I don't. I just wanted to make a comment that I'm really out of the blue. I haven't received any information as to the board. I did read on the board down here that you could apply to be on the board, but nothing really has came to the community. I haven't had a letter written where to address anything, how things are really transpiring. And so I really feel that, like, from what I read now, we've got a change of funds, and that should have been a hearing as far as the decrease from $10,000 to the amount that it is for connection now, and that there's a turnoff. I want to address all this. I'm happy to be on the meetings, and so I will further this with Mike, but I hope that you are contacting the community as to what's conspiring at this time.
I think that is a good suggestion, and
Sure.
we'll
Yep.
work on that.
Thank you for your time.
Give us a little grace. We're all scrambling, making things up as we go along, and maybe I should just speak for myself.
Yeah, we've been just trying to keep diesel in the generators and trying to do the best we can with billing. Sometimes the bills are going out before the due date and different things like that, Mari. But it'll all kind of come back together once we get somebody in there working on it full time.
Yeah, I think that having the citizens involved and seeing how we can help, I think that's vital too. So I appreciate you, and thank you for my comment time.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else want to address the board? Rodney sent us a note that we were messing up on our public notices and not getting it right the first time. I apologize for that, and we try to do better.
Yeah, I'm still working with the public notice website. They can't seem to be able to edit the contacts or the board members or any of that. It still goes out every time incorrect. Still working with them on that software issue, they say, but it's been about a month now. I've been working with them on that.
But we're doing the best we can. A little patience would be very much appreciated. Things should be better soon. Anyone else wants to address the board? Okay, if not, then we will move on to the next item, board reports. Amy, do you want to comment on some things you have done in the last 4 weeks since we had our last meeting?
I've just been getting the mail and addressing certain reports that we have to submit, and I did, Mike and I got the budget resubmitted with the help of Sophie, our accountant. Other than that, just keeping an eye on the office and the building and helping out wherever I can.
Sounds good. Mike?
Yeah, just trying to keep billing more running forward and accounts payable paid as best I can. Yeah, I'm working with Utah Public Notice website, different things, trying to, and of course, ordering fuel and working with Ray down there. And those guys have been doing a great job for us, just keeping everything going, checking generators, kind of facilitating that with him. And things are going as smooth as possible, I think, right now.
Thank you, Mike. Couple of things that I've been doing. We've attended a meeting with Energy Strategy Studies. They've made a long-time forecast of the energy demands in Tikaboo and area south, and they came up with some shocking numbers. They told us that it was going to cost $8 million just to get the wiring within Tikaboo up to standard, which I thought was somewhat shocking, and I hope they overestimated that by a lot. And they produced a report that gave several options for expansion. After we listened to that, I had some contact with UAMS who has looked into the same issue, how we can get Tikaboo power stable and affordable and expand it to outlying regions. And we should probably get in touch with them and just continue the discussion. And I've worked with Jones and the Mill Engineering to get us registered with Blue Stakes, which for some reason had not happened. So that is, in short, what I've been doing. New business. Ray, are you prepared for your North Lake Powell presentation? Let me, before we do that, maybe I should tell everyone how we got to where we are. In February, we decided to publish a job for the manager of the district, the chip replacement position, with Indeed and several other job posting sites. And simultaneously, we posted a request for proposal for a management company to take it over and have more than one person do the job in not as just one person, but a company with different people of different levels and different skills. We got 2 applications from our job posting and 1 response to our RFP. And we have currently as a proposal to go with North Lake Powell's proposal. And that kind of wraps up the both of let me say that best. Okay, let's restart that sentence. That gives us one of the applicants had also been in touch with North Lake Powell. So there is so North Lake Powell has suggested to hire the applicant. So we kind of end up with the best of both worlds. That was the phrase I was looking for and couldn't find earlier. The other applicant was a skilled applicant, but not quite sufficient in like broad spectrum management. So I sent him a note saying, thank you for your application. So subject to approval by the board right now, we are thinking of moving forward with the North Lake Powell proposal. And Ray, who wrote the proposal, will give us a short presentation that will show what the proposal is. Ray, the floor is all yours.
Okay, so before I'm not quite sure. I've never put a proposal up on one of these calls, so I'm looking at. Do you have a way to put that up there, or do I just hit this present now?
Yeah. If you can pull that up on your screen and hit present now.
Okay.
Or if not, I can find it.
I think I got it. I figured it out. I think.
Sorry, I was not prepared to.
That's okay. I think I've got it. Let's see if it comes up. Is it there?
No.
Okay.
Do you see it on your screen?
I do, and it says.
It's there. I see it.
I see it.
Okay, Ray Golden is presenting. Yes,
So-
there it is.
Okay.
No,
Well-
I still don't see it. I see your, yes. There it is.
Does everybody see it?
Yep, looks good.
Okay. And first, let me just say, Mike and Alexa and Amy, you all have full-time jobs, obviously, and you all are doing a fantastic job of managing the company, which is what we're hoping to do here, so that you can step back and be more of the decision makers and let us get our hands dirty with this. And also, forgive me for my appearance. I am completely red from sunburn and windburn. We've been out filming for the past 2 days, and we still got to film some tomorrow. So it's been a crazy 2 days, about 12 hours a day out in the desert. So forgive me for that. So I'd like to make the presentation to you, and I would like to first say, when you take a class and you have a lab with it, this past 2 days has been a perfect laboratory experiment. The Utah Department of Tourism has been doing some great things for us here at North Lake Powell, and they reached out to us to film a project promoting the OHV market in our area, and they hired a company out of Canada, ATV.com, to come and film it. And that's really special when the director of the Department of Tourism reaches out to you and says, hey, we want you to be the guy to showcase this booming market in Utah for the state of Utah. At the same time, the Board of Trustees approved to have a representative from Caterpillar come down and do an assessment or first assessment of the generators. And we were kind of like not wanting him to come down specifically for that to try to save those fees. So we were waiting on him to schedule an appointment, which he did in Bullfrog. He had an emergency to go to Bullfrog. And we didn't know. We just said, well, let us know when you're going to be there. So last night, after we were 14 hours out in the desert, when we got back, he called and said, I'm here and I'll be there in the morning. And it had the opportunity of completely disrupting our entire plan that we'd spent 60 days with the Department of Tourism. But Tim Kelly, who's on here, and myself and Dana DeMambro last night around 7 o'clock, spent a considerable amount of time to make that work. So it would be a win-win situation for both the district and for North Lake Powell. And we were able to hash it out and get it done so that both businesses win. So in essence, in a nutshell, this is what this plan is going to present to you. We have the ability to not only do our jobs that at North Lake Powell, but we also are very attentive to the needs of the district with TUID. And because we have a multiple amount of employees, both in management and in operations, we can do a little bit of everything. And yesterday, last night, and this morning was the perfect example of why we're the team to consider for this contract. So starting from the beginning of the presentation, the goals. These are our goals. Learn from the past, both in communications and transparency. And then improve the prospects for the future by building a good foundation, creating a brand, and having a community relationship and helping the community be aware, like what Mary was talking about. We wanted to make sure that Mary doesn't have these questions. We want Mary to be aware. We want to be proactive, and we want to say, we want Mary to come back to the table. And when she makes a public comment, she's going to say, man, you guys are doing a fantastic job. And thank you for keeping me informed. We're also built for economic growth. We're diligently always assessing the expenses and the revenue, and we want to create an attractive utility rate, and we want to accomplish more with less. And by that doesn't mean, do something cheap. And by that I mean, like, when I remember reading a story one time about an astronaut was bumped from a mission, and he was watching a rocket take off, and somebody said to him, that was supposed to be you. And he said, well, I'm okay with it. He said that rocket there was purchased with the cheapest bidders in the country. And that always rings out. We don't want to be cheap. We just want to cut that budget. We want to go in there and dig in it, and we want to find ways to do more with less money spent. And there's been a couple examples of that's happened in the past 2 weeks, as Tim can tell you. He's been here with me, diligently digging into a lot of stuff, but we're finding ways to get the job done by not having to bring in contractors or make multiple runs away from Tickaboo to get supplies and stuff like that. So that's where the cross-functional teams come in. I think that the district and North Lake Powell is going to have a great relationship together. The preparatory work, we're really not contracted to do this yet, but we are doing a little bit of it. And once April comes along on the start date, we can really start digging into those expenditures. As the Board of Trustees is well aware, we've already, worked with some local people that Offshore Marina works with to get necessary supplies for less money, and we're combining the water samples with offshore samples and splitting it in half, because there's no more overnight service, so we have to drive these water samples to Utah, and Offshore Marina splits those costs with TUID. So by looking at the expenditures, we're able to find ways to cut the fat out of the budget. Analyzing the existing TUID structure, that's extremely important, so we know where we are. That fella that came down with Caterpillar this morning, I'll be sending you that report. He's emailing it to Dana and myself and John and Tim as soon as he gets back to Salt Lake, I think he's from. And it's going to let us know. And he already gave us today. He gave Dana an incredible amount of information, and I was rushing to get back here for this presentation, and he was hitting me with it. So I really haven't had time to digest it. Tim has a little bit of knowledge of it, but we'll sit down tomorrow and put it in a good email to make sure you all understand it. And then, of course, what our management does is we maximize our efficiencies through cross functionality. That's how we've been able to survive in the desert with North Lake Powell. So let's get to the meat of the contract. Establishing the Tickaboo management and admin fee. What we did is analyze what has been paid in wages and analyzed what you're getting with the team of North Lake Powell. And we've spoke with the owners, and we feel that we want to participate in cost sharing on some of those management fees. So we arrived at a figure of $8,333.33. And we're sure we're going to probably go over that a little bit or more, and that's okay. We're not going to bill it. We're going to just let that be what North Lake Powell shares into that fee. So North Lake Powell has a team that consists of 36 years of experience living, working, and running logistics in North Lake Powell and Tickaboo specifically. That includes myself, John Motley, and Tim Kelly, Dana DeMambro, and Ricky Brinkerhoff, who you all know. And I also put on here Nate Lassiter. He's part of our team that is very eager and has been helping out already in the landfill and stuff of that nature. Our operational team is trained North Lake Powell maintenance and ground staff. And we're going to have with the accounting, Connie Malone, who is very skilled in all the bookkeeping operations with offshore marina. And she's going to, as soon as August 1st gets around, April 1st gets around, maybe with Connie, it's going to be around the 5th or 6th, but she's going to start digging into that bookkeeping and get that monkey off of Mike's back. And then Jeremy Cowley is our accountant. What are you going to see for that? Well, the management and operation functions. Tickaboo management is going to supervise and stay within that budget as the board of trustees direct. Our operations are going to be a maintenance staff led by Ricky Brinkerhoff and Dana DeMambro. We have an enormous amount of supportive maintenance and labor that can handle things for a much less labor fee for just simple things like covering up lines that are exposed, digging trenches, taking care of the sewer, blowing out the sewer lines and stuff of that nature. We will offer monthly, quarterly, and annual updates to the board of trustees. And we plan to provide electrical, water, wastewater, landfill, grounds, maintenance services as per our operating history, as per the TUID operating history that you've done before. We also want to accommodate customer growth, upgrades, and expansion on demand, and provide consistent feedback, financial and operating reports to the board of trustees monthly, quarterly, and annually. And then lastly, same part. Sorry, it was on page 3. Create an operation and SOP plan. So that right now is non-existent. And as soon as John Motley gets here, that's one of the first things he's going to work on is a standard operating procedure plan. And it's going to be set specifically to the operations within the district. And it's going to provide an enormous amount of transparency and access and personal succession. In other words, if somebody in our company leaves, then everybody will absorb that position until we find somebody else. There won't be this gap. You'll never see this gap again like what you have right now. And then, of course, we're going to perform all the required testing, compliancy, and regulatory functions associated with the operations, which we're already doing now. And we'll provide all the accounting, financial services, and cost controls using the UC special district requirements. So hopefully that will allow Alexa, Mike, and Amy to step back and oversee the management of the company. And we'll take it from there, and you'll never see the kind of issues that are arising right now through this transition period. So our first step, of course, just like when you buy a house, you get it inspected. We need to assess and inspect all the assets and infrastructure. And Alexa, to your point, that Energy Commission kind of threw a lot of that information out there for us. But we also need to get into some details with Caterpillar, which is what we're doing right now. They came down and started the system analysis. So, and then the next step will be meeting with them and going over a lot of that information, which we'll send to you immediately as soon as we receive it tomorrow or Saturday or Friday, rather. We want to provide access to all the record systems equipment to facilitate these duties. And we want to streamline the SOPs and efficiency. So it's not just a good thing to create the SOPs. You actually have to perform the SOPs. So accessibility, set in regular business hours. So Mary, to your point, we already are creating an office at base camp. We've already cleaned it out, and Ricky and his team are already making it into what's going to be a nice office. It'll have regular business hours. It'll be easy access. You just walk right in. John will be manning that, and when John's out on the field, somebody will probably be in there, either myself or Tim. Somebody within North Lake Powell will always be there, and if not, there will be a 24-hour call service. John will post a number on how to reach him. Our emergency plan services, we're going to create that immediately, and a lot of that is already in place, but we're going to create an emergency plan that has a 24-hour on-call response team. North Lake Powell's team incentivizes employees. Actually, we're going to get them to join the fire team and other emergency systems. Everybody here knows that most of us that are on this call that live here in Tickapoo are on the fire department and also on the search and rescue team. Emergency communications and contacts plan, of course, the information presented and posted for community. All that information is going to be right there on that door where the office is or on that window. And you'll basically be able to see everything or read everything that you need to know. And if you don't understand it, you can just walk inside and say, John, let's talk. Tell me about this. So moving on to number 4, initiating the linking up the North Lake Powell utility discussions, which we've been doing for years, but we'll start moving forward with Tickapoo Offshore, J&B, the Tapestry Project, and then Bullfrog. And we've already been communicating with National Park Service, and they're very excited and they're very interested in these discussions. And then, of course, community outreach, new management, attractive utility pricing. And then we're going to invest in or look into green initiatives, highway cleanup, water preservation. And we're going to have community outreach plans where we help the community understand and put them at ease so that they don't have to ask questions. That's the big thing. We want them to know so that they don't have to ask questions. And with that, I just want to say thank you for letting us present this plan to the Board of Trustees. And if you have any questions, myself or John or Tim will always be available. You can always find us somehow. Once we have the office set up, then you'll always be able to find us. But anybody can reach out to myself, or you can ask anybody at Tickapoo where I am at the moment, and they'll tell you. Don't reach out to me tomorrow. I'll be in the desert. So thank you.
Ray?
Did everybody hear that okay?
Yep.
That was the first time I ever did that, so thank you.
I think you're muted, Alexa.
Thank you very much, Ray. That was wonderful. So, do we need to discuss this any further before we take this to a vote? And full disclosure, we have discussed this before, so all our questions are answered. Maybe anybody of our visitors have any questions, that might be a good way to go. Rodney?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Ms. Wilson. I'm just curious on when the terms of this contract will be released to the public.
Well, this what we're proposing, or what what I'm proposing the motion will be is that the Board of Trustees will be authorized to enter into negotiations with North Lake Powell to get to finalize, to draft the contract and to authorize the board to sign a contract as long as it's substantially along the lines that are presented here. We hope that we can get a contract together by April 1st, and as soon as it's signed, then it's a public document, and then it will be made available to the public. So I am proposing a two-part motion that,
Alexa, do we want to finish going through till we get to the approved consent?
oh, we're not doing, oh, okay. Sorry. Yes. Yes, let's do that. Let's go to our second agenda item first, and then we're going to come back to a motion, right? That's how we set it up, didn't we, Mike?
Yeah, so we go, number 8B is an interim manager update. It's Ray and I, and then item 9, there's none. Item 10 is approved consent, and then we can go straight into a motion on under.
Okay. Okay, let's do that. So unless anybody else has any questions, I suggest we just move on to our next agenda item. Thanks, Mike, for keeping me on the straight and narrow.
No problem.
Mike or Ray, either one of you want to address, kind of already did that in between other items.
I'll jump in there. I just, we received fuel March 2nd, I believe, 7,000 gallons. Red dye number 2 fuel. So we're keeping fuel levels in the tanks up. And right now I'm working on February billing, and it's got started off the schedule back in December. So it's kind of created some delays in due dates. And those delays in due dates have led to sometimes the next month bill goes out before the last month's due dates expired. So it's created some double billing, but it'll all work out in the end. And we've also turned off late fees just due to that process being slow with some latency. So anyway, hopefully once we get everything back in shape and get the management team set up, we can get back on track and get everything back on time and be back to normal. Ray and his folks have been, like I say, working hard, keeping the generator stuff inspected, maintained. They've also been working on some of our other equipment. The side-by-side we had up the generator building, they got it running, and the tractor as well. Backhoe's been maintained, and Ray said they fixed that. They're just really kind of getting everything up in shape, and so it should be real easy to go in and get a good asset list and get everything updated going forward. That's about all I have.
Ray, do you have anything to report other than the things you already reported on?
Well, we had one small power outage about a week ago. Maybe it was tomorrow will be 2 weeks, I think. It was just where the generator didn't transfer over. And Tim is on the call, but Tim, am I correct? If I remember correctly, that was just those codes needed cleared, I think, is all that needed to make that start operating properly again. But we knew that we need to have Caterpillar come down here and help clear the codes permanently. We can only do them temporarily, but they store, and then Caterpillar can come and clear them all. I think the codes are mostly the low usage code because we have those bigger generators on when there's not a lot of load being assessed to them. Am I correct to say it like that, Tim?
Yeah, that's correct. Once it
Yeah.
happens so many times, it'll automatically trigger that. It throws the scheduling off on them.
And then we had a high pressure oil hose spring a leak, and Dana was able to, or Ricky took the hose off, gave it to Dana. Dana ran to Green River, and Napa made us 3 hoses because that Gen 3 has 2 hoses. So they're probably the same age, which means the other one's probably going to go out soon. And so Ricky replaced the one, and now we have 2 spares, and he'll probably go ahead and replace that second one soon. And then we'll have a spare on hand so you don't have to run the Green River again if that was to happen. That's the only generator with those high pressure hoses. So that was in the past month, that's the only 2 emergencies. I mean, they were handled quickly and with very little issues. So that's good. And we're still doing the things that we agreed upon, such as landfill runs, checking the generators every day. Ricky has started on the lagoons that we agreed upon. So we're doing everything that the trustees and our staff has agreed to do. And then once we get the contract, if you all award it to us, then we'll knock out all that stuff in 30 days or less. And Tim, am I missing anything, Tim? I think that's pretty much what we've been doing mostly.
Yeah, that sounds complete. I mean, it's just keeping up on everything and, keep the surprises to a minimum. I think we're checking it every day. The guys have been pretty diligent, keeping their eyes open and been able to avoid any major issues.
Oh, thank you, guys. It sounds like you've done the main thing that needs to be done is keep the lights on and the toilets flushing. So I appreciate that. Don't have any old business. We're not old enough to have old business. So then we're moving to our motion about our maintenance contract. Mike or Amy, do you want to take a stab at that motion? Should probably have written it out.
I'll make a motion to approve Pickerville Utility Improvement District entering into contract negotiations with North Lake Power.
And I'll second that motion.
And I'm not quite sure how that worked, but I'm suggesting to add to that motion to enter into negotiations and the authority to sign the contract as long as it's generally along the lines we discussed tonight. That way we can actually get this done before the end of the month.
I'll approve, I'll amend my motion to approve Pickerville Utility Improvement District entering into contract negotiations with North Lake Powell and potentially signing pending that the contract fits the proposed agenda.
Yes, that'll work.
And then, I make note too, we're gonna have legal counsel look over the contract, go through everything before we sign, do all of our due diligence involved before signing contract.
Amy, do you second that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, so all in favor say aye. Let's do this one by one just because this is an important one. Mike?
Mike Morlang, aye.
Amy?
I'm going to recuse myself due to a potential conflict of interest.
Thank you. Alexa Wilson, I vote in favor, aye. So we have 2 ayes and 1 recusal, so the motion carries. What's next? Adjournment, huh? We're done.
We don't have any additional action items, so yeah.
Okay, who wants the motion to adjourn?
I motion that we adjourn the meeting tonight.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye or wave.
Mike Moreland, aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, that motion carries unanimously. So thank you all for attending. Any questions from anyone, including any members of the public? Our email addresses are on the public notice website. So feel free. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of the evening. We have snow here.
Wow.
So I'm jealous of the sunshine I see through your window, Ray.
You're welcome to come down and enjoy it with us tomorrow.
That would be way more fun than what I'm actually going to do tomorrow, but we'll wait another two or 3 weeks and then I'll come down and enjoy some Tickaboo sunshine. Hopefully. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.